It's 96 Rock Mornings with JD and Bridget. And Bridget out in Italy on vacation. And we've got Ask the Expert going on now. And we've brought in a band going by the name of Michael the Medic. I know it sounds made up.
It's a true person. He is here in studio.
Real
Am
person
I real?
Who is,
Am I real? I'm here. Oh, no, I am. I'm real.
Who has done work in hospitals, firefighter, as well as you work at some venues in the area. We don't want to get too specific and get people in trouble, but you're cool enough to come in so that we can bombard you with questions because we don't know anything about this whole field of work.
I've only learned a little bit, so we're close on the same page.
It's more than we got. Let's put it that way. And that's what this Ask the Expert's all about, where we get to ask questions. We take questions from you guys on our Facebook page, 96 Rock Cincinnati. We've had people write in. And so here's some of the things that they want to know, and then we want to know about what you got to do for a living. So how long have you been in the medic field?
17 years now.
17 years. Now, did you does this mean you had to go to medical school? Or how does that all work?
Yeah, I went through EMT school. You start there, and then I went through medic school later and got my paramedic card, and I've been doing it ever since.
All right. Well, my first question is going to be dead bodies. How many times have you been around dead bodies?
More than I could ever possibly count.
What do you remember? Like the first one you ever saw?
I do. It was awful. It was awful.
Can I hear your story?
Uh,
It's terrible. Tell me about it. Tell me more.
Everybody, what's the worst thing you've ever seen? I don't want to talk about it. No, it was actually a suicide. It was a guy that had taken his own life by he cut his own throat all the way across and just sat there in the chair until he died. And I show up and I'm brand new and I turn the corner, because it comes in, it's just a non-breather cardiac event, It's somebody that's dead. So you don't always know what you're walking into when it's a generic call like that. So I go run into the house, I run around the front door, and I turn the corner, and there's just that sitting in the chair. And I kind of paused for a second, and my partner, who was a lot more experienced, he kind of froze for a second, too. And then he's like, so we can go ahead and step out. This is a police scene. I'm like, okay, then. And we walked out.
All right.
So that being one of your first experiences as a medic, did that change your mindset at all? Like, what the heck did I just get into? Is this something that I want to continue doing?
Actually, it was weird. I wanted to do this for years before I ever actually did it because I had some experiences when I was younger where when everything would go wrong and somebody would end up hurt and everybody's standing around, I was always that guy that was just jumping right in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a businessman and I got laid off, and my girlfriend at the time, she looked at me and she's like, so what do you really want to do with your life? You've always worked to make money. What do you really want to do with your life? I said, I want to be in the back of the ambulance. I want to go ride in an ambulance and help people. And I knew I was never going to make as much money as I did in business, but it's what I wanted to do. So the bad things that happened early on, they didn't turn me away. A lot of them kind of reminded me why I was doing it. I was doing it because I wanted to help. And that first one was a situation where I couldn't do anything. But it also gave me perspective on that day that I'm not always going to know what I'm walking into. And that was a good perspective to have and probably saved my bacon a few times after that. So it did do that. It gave me that awakening of just because the pager says something doesn't mean that's what it is.
Yeah.
And but no, not much early on scared me away. It just made me want to help more every time I saw somebody that I could do something for. Even if all I was doing for them was putting them in the ambulance and driving them to the hospital, I was making the difference in their day, and
that's awesome.
That's what I got into it for. So it just always motivated me to keep going.
Has there ever been something where it made you take a step back and go, oh, maybe that's too much. Man, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
There's always those patients you get that they make you hesitate a little bit on whether you can keep doing it. Those ones that you take home and they stay with you, and some of them that are with me to this day. Early on, it was, when bad things happen to kids.
Yeah.
When bad things happen to kids, it's hard. It's difficult to sit there and just go on to the next patient.
Sure.
When that's what you just saw was something that just really ripped your heart in half.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I know
not
that. My younger brother went to the police academy, graduated, went out on some runs early on for like weeks, and then goes, yeah, I can't do this.
Really?
Like just seeing some of the darker things that go on that society doesn't always see. They don't talk about everything that happens to people on the news. They only pick and choose a few. The things that you have to see and do and deal with. He's like, there's no way I could have lived through that. So,
No.
it takes a special somebody to to get through that. So
No.
thanks, dude, for being one of those guys. It's 96 Rock Mornings with JD and Bridge, and we got Michael the medic here. We're doing Ask the Expert. And if you have a question for Mike, go ahead and hit us up on our 96 Rock Cincinnati Facebook page. We'll have more with him next. It's 96 Rock Mornings with JD and Bridget. Bridget out. She's in Italy on vacation. We are doing Ask the Expert. Mike the medic here in studio.
Get on a little lighter note on this one. Has there ever been a call or a run you've been on? People will call in and it's been an absolutely ridiculous. Like, why did you call a medic for this?
Well, there's always a string of them, but I think one of the most absurd ones ever was it was actually I was responding as a fireman, but they had essentially called for a smoke alarm, and we all show up, and it was some middle-aged housewives that were having a little sleepover together and called just to get the firemen to show up.
Really?
Yeah.
Tried to get us to hang out with them. Yeah. And then so we turned off the smoke alarm and we left. And then they did it again. And then a third time. And finally we had to tell them, like, okay, next time we're going to have the cops show up and this can't happen again. But yeah, they just wanted the firemen to come and hang out.
They weren't calling necessarily 911. They were.
Oh, no, it was 911. It was being dispatched out.
So I'm just saying, isn't that like federally, like you can get charged for that? Like that's a crime. That's misappropriation of
I should probably know the answer
resources.
to whether that's legal or not, and I don't. So
that's ridiculous.
I wonder if they thought by the third time you guys, all right, we'll be the strippers. Let's go. We're cool with this. All right, boys, hit the music.
Well, no, and that's the thing, looking at me and who I was working with that night, I can't imagine what the draw was.
You're not the guys on the calendar.
Right? We were not the guys that they want to put up for 12 months of the year. That was not
you guys
that
were the
crew.
B team coming through, were you?
We were JV.
All right, so Mike, I'm a big movie dork, and I would say you are too.
Of course.
What shows or movies best depict what you guys do in real life?
A lot of the current shows, that come out and they show paramedics in the field, I can't watch them because they're so horribly inaccurate as to how things really go that it agitates me. But funny enough, I really liked Rescue Me with Dennis Leary.
Yeah, I heard.
I know
that
it wasn't a
good
medic
one.
show, but as a fireman, I thought they did a really good job of putting together the personal side of what goes into being in that firehouse and being stuck with these other guys. And some of them you might not even like, but you're there together for 24 hours. And I don't like this guy, but I need him to watch my back and have, keep my life in check and me on his. And so that stuff. But anything that depicts medics just usually makes me mad.
That
just,
bad.
just usually makes me angry, like that's not where you put those pads, and why are they grabbing that medicine? And or anytime, any hospital show, when they show a monitor, unless you're watching like House MD or one of them that really tries to be accurate, all the rest of them, like the Chicago shows and all that, I just sit there and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen. Nope, that doesn't happen. Okay, I got to turn this off again.
You brought up pads. Is that a thing? Is that real? The clear. Real?
No, they're all just stickers now. You just put a couple of stickers on them and everybody stands back. There are manual pads that can be used in certain scenarios in certain places. I've never got to do that ever in my 17 years.
See, that seems like would be the fun part. Oh, yeah. Light them up.
You work, you do your medic work at a hospital and things like that. You also do outside of the hospital. You work as a medic at a lot of the venues around town, and you do like a lot of concerts and events and stuff like
Lots
that.
of concerts.
So my question is, with concerts, the genres of music that you've worked, the groups of people that are there, what has been the genre of music that has produced the craziest amount of just stuff that you have to respond to?
It's always the country shows, man.
Really?
The big country shows, the Luke Bryans, the I don't know, I didn't go to Dirk's, but I imagine that was a painful one too. You get these big country shows, and they're just terrible. They're the worst. We respond to more runs during a country show than anything else, and I'm not just saying that because I dislike country. I mean,
what
the
are
worst.
some of the things that they call you for?
It's all those shows. I won't say it's all. A large percentage of people that have way too much to drink, and they're throwing up, and you're ruining the time for other people there once you're throwing up on people, and so you have to come back to first aid, and
Unless you're into that.
and I'm not going to comment on that. And then lots of people. He was looking at my girlfriend, and then they punch each other,
Sure.
and I think what it is you get a lot more because you go to the metal shows. The metal shows you don't make a lot of runs. The big rock
Because
shows.
we're badass.
Dude, I think the difference is so many people show up to the country show for the party.
Yeah, because the music sucks.
Whereas your metal fans, your hard rock fans, they're there for the music. They're there because they love the music. They want to see the band. They want to sing along and headbang and throw up the horns. These people go to the country show. They know 3 songs, and the rest of the time they're getting hammered and hanging out with their friends. And I think that's what it is. It's just it's a different appreciation of the music that's being played as opposed to the atmosphere that's there.
Yeah, because you would think, just from stereotypes, that the metal shows would be the craziest because we're the wild-looking people.
Music.
Yeah, we have things called pits.
Yeah.
I tell you, well, and the thing is if you want to be dangerous, you can, but it's always organized. It's like, there's the pit, and I don't want to be part of it, so I'm going to go stand over here because I do that. I'm old.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the pit, what's the worst pit injury you've seen?
Visually, the worst was a girl that took a nosedive while crowd surfing, and somebody just slipped up, and she went face down onto her nose. And it was mushed. It was gnarly looking. I mean, we've had the nasty ankles where they're all sideways and stuff. Somebody with their knee where it was going the wrong direction.
Protruding bones anytime?
Not in a pit.
Good.
No,
good,
I've never had a
'cause that makes
protruding
me
bone in
wanna
a
throw
pit.
up.
Lots of blood, lots of misshapen and stuff, but no bones in the pit.
Speaking of gross, you ever had to deliver a baby?
Yeah.
Have you?
That's the worst.
Oh, my God.
That's
really?
actually the worst. I hate that more than anything else I've ever done.
Out of all of the things.
I mean, I've literally had I've had human feces up to my elbow, and it doesn't gross me out as much as watching a baby be born. That's the worst.
I had to watch in 8th grade class once. What was it? No, 6th grade. It was 6th grade. Mr. Nitch. They showed a video of a woman having a baby, and it was mortifying.
I will say this: seeing it on a
Fluids
video
everywhere.
screen and seeing it where your hands are right there, and it's just inches away. No.
Did you cut the cord?
It is the worst. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Man.
Yeah, dude, it's the worst. I
seen
spent the
it
whole
all.
time gagging. I spent the whole time doing this. Okay, push. No, I'm fine, ma'am. Oh, no.
Okay,
Something in the throat.
Me and the wife have had the children talk, possibly in the future, and you just brought that
Are
down.
you gonna
a
let
level
Mike the
for
medic
me,
do the birth?
I
Yeah.
know.
The delivery?
No.
This would be great. I'll record. It'll be awesome.
It's too many people looking at my wife's vagina right now.
You know what? There's a lot of people, no matter what the scenario is. Okay, it's like, okay, so this is the med student, and this is the paramedic student, this is the nursing student. They're all going to be watching today, and you just have to go, okay.
She's gonna be angry, and I'm gonna be sitting there like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my hands.
Put them wherever she asks, and let her rip your arm off if she needs to.
Oh gosh.
We appreciate you coming in here today and being a part of Ask the Expert.
Thanks for having me. I had fun.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. We should have you back again after all the chaos this summer out at all the other venues that we're going to be covering. We'll talk more about insane shows. And you country people, get your act together. Apparently, you guys are a bunch of when it comes to drinking.